Welcome, everybody, to the Journeymen Lounge podcast.
You better be praying to God because, you're 14 and losses in a row. You're going to need Jesus.
Am I wrong?
I thought you were pretty wrong, yeah. Welcome live into Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois. We are brought to you by Budweiser. Drink that cool, brisk Budweiser.
We're actually brought to you by Busch Light.
Busch Light. I'm sorry, I've had a few. Anyway, let's...
Ryan's pulling old fucking... what's the guy from Major League?
Bob Bucher.
But was it Harry
Doyle. Well, Monty, what do you think here?
Take over, Monty. I'm in the bag.
I'm in the bag.
All right, so Ryan with his patented, I would say, announcer voice.
Yeah, it takes practice.
Bringing us into the Journeymen Lounge podcast, I would say that was the only negative is that you'd never mention the actual podcast.
I was about to. We're going to kick it live to the studio where we bring Jason Woj and Ryan with the Journeymen podcast.
There you go. Sorry, I kind of stepped on your toes there. But, all right, so we got a, what I like to call the Ryan and Jason show, or Ryan and Woj show.
Yeah.
Barbarino, obviously, as you can tell, is kicking it up in Disney right now. So fucking dope for him.
Disney in California, Disney in Florida.
I don't know. I don't care. He's in one of them. So moving on.
He is not here.
He is not here. So let's get right into it. So we got a couple topics: album review, movie review. Pretty standard kind of template that we're rocking right now here. So Ryan and I just got done shooting around. I do have to mention it. I just shot an 81, which is my best round
Fuck you.
ever for I would say an 18-hole course that is above like 6,400 yards or so. Because I've played like Salt Creek and stuff like that where I like...
Salt Creek's tiny.
It's when you don't have to use your driver on a couple different par fours, like you kind of get that feeling.
Or when you can just use the driver and get it directly to the green, either way.
I mean, yeah, it's a smaller course there. But, again, we had a great time. I mean, Ryan, we know how to throw it down. We had
my man,
shout out.
Mike,
we know that you're watching here.
Retired Chicago firefighter.
Yo, dude, fucking one of the best, like, partners in golf. And then we had Javier. Fucking Javi out there.
Playing the whites, but doing his thing.
I mean, this dude was a fucking one-putt. He did not three-putt all day, and the majority of holes he one-putted.
It's pretty much like 2 or 3 shots, get on the green, and then 2 putted in. And that's him every time.
I mean, dude, consistent as hell. But, again, dude, great day of golf. Not for my, scores or whatever, but, like, that was just a cherry on top there. Now we're fucking back at it and ready to talk some fucking shit here. So, the first topic is this thing that you kind of brought up is like, so you got to kind of describe it again to the audience. What is it again?
My thing with the
sanctuary.
Oh, okay. So like I was thinking like, what's like our favorite? Like I called it sanctuaries, which is like for me, it's like a place you like to go, or like an activity you like to do. Where like you just go there and you kind of escape from the world. From like work or
something that
puts
you at peace.
Like, and for example, I'll start for me. Like today we're on the golf course. That would be one of them. Where you just get out there and you just play 18, play around. You turn the phone off or don't look at the phone. And just enjoy the day for like 3-4 hours, whatever it takes. In our case,
I mean, we golfed in about 4, right?
Yeah, we could have golfed in like 2 if we didn't have anybody in front of us, but.
Yeah, we're fast golfers for sure.
And then I was actually I thought about it yesterday because yesterday I went to the movies and I was like, man, I haven't been here in forever, but I love coming here. I used to go like every weekend, and it's just like a place I go to.
It's your dojo. It's
just like get away from everything and just like unwind and like not to be bothered with anything or anybody for like.
Well, in a movie, you're not supposed to be on your fucking phone.
No, I know, but it's like it's specifically too like I'm not even gonna look at my phone. Like I'm just gonna enjoy and just soak it in and like just focus on the movie and whatever.
Those are good ones, man.
Yeah. What about you, man? You got any? I mean, I got a couple more if you have.
I definitely will say the golf course. I was kind of illustrating to you kind of before is that my perfect kind of like serene moment is always when you're on a tee box and you have probably like the sun to the behind you, to the side of you, definitely not in the face. That's kind of shitty. But when it's like you're getting the sun shining down on you on the tee box and you're just like, same thing. You're like, I'm not checking my phone right now. I'm not fucking worrying about work or any other bullshit like that. That's definitely one. I would also say mine is probably also going to be when I'm on like a lake, like doing like a boat, like a like more of a pontoon boat. Those are always some nice days because one, I never like have the urge to drive the pontoon boat. I'm never like, oh yeah, let me drive and like, I want to take care of that. It's just more responsibility
Are you fishing on the boat or are you just? Like,
it's anything really on it. Like whether you jump off, you fucking swim around for a bit, you fucking just chill on it.
Like I'm not a big fish guy. Like
I'm not a fisher.
I mean, like if we're like on the boat and there's like, hey, you want to like do it, but like I'm not no shit, no bullshit. Like I don't want to touch the fish when I catch it. Like I don't. Fine. It's disgusting. Like I went with my friend Jessica to her lake house. I don't know, years, like 10 years ago or whatever, a long time ago.
Trip down memory lane.
Yeah, the Michigan dunes, and they had their own pontoon boat. And we went fishing, and I caught like 3-4 fish. And I'm just like, all right, Mr. Barons, you want to take this off the reel for me? I'm not doing it. Like, and they were like kind of giving me crap about it. I'm like, I don't want to stick my thumb down the fish's like mouth. I don't know if he's got like teeth or whatever down there, and I don't want to eat the fish. I just like it's just fun catching it. Like I don't need to do anything.
Yeah, I kind of get it with the fishing thing. I'm not the biggest fisher or anything like that. I'm just saying, just kind of in general, encompassing the boat day of like going out on a lake. It's a nice day out. Same thing. Sun's shining down. You're having tunes on. You're fucking just cruising. Doing whatever. Like there was one time with the Wickham, shout out. We fucking drove up like on the channel lakes that they're around.
Yeah.
They fucking have a bunch of like bars and restaurants that we just like fucking drove up to, docked, had dinner, watched a little bit of the Cubs game or whatever. I was like, This is dope, man. It's a great day. I'll do those two. Kind of the golf course and on the lake.
I would throw a couple more out.
Sure.
When I used to hoop before I was hurt, definitely playing basketball like every week, just like for a couple hours. Like it's one of the only things I can recall ever doing. Like even when I go to a movie or when I golf, like you still like you're trying to think about things, but it might pop in your head still. But when I'm playing basketball, I don't think about anything but playing basketball, like just the game and like that is was a true stress reliever and just a nice getaway. And then I guess like to a lesser extent, but like I love going to like Bulls games and stuff like or like any sports games I guess in general, like like Cubs games or Sox, Bears, whatever, but like I've been to more Bulls probably than anything.
I mean, the only thing that
they're expensive.
The only thing that I'll interject about that
you got to drive
me
to the city
is just that there are definitely moments when I'm at these games where I'm like, hey, this is a very like awesome moment. Like it's fucking peaceful as shit. Like throughout the chaos or whatever. The only part that I don't like is that it's very rarely like all of that. One. The Chicago teams have been terrible, so when you're fucking there and they're losing, it's like this fucking blows. Like when I went to a game, with Kyle, shout out, I think last year, fucking Bulls took it to like overtime, and then they fucking lost in like the last second fucking shot by De'Aaron Fox, and I was like, oh man, like
dude,
even when they lose, they're fucking killing me.
You think that's bad? All right, quick story. Me and Serge, who was on the pod. And I think it was maybe one more person, maybe just me and him. We went to a Kings game in like 2009.
Okay.
So Vinny Del Negro was still the coach.
Vinny!
Bulls were up by 30 or 32 at halftime. We proceeded to blow the lead and lose the game. And like you could like see it happening like as the game's going on, just like
yeah, you're just like, hey, they're down by 25. They're down by
18,
20. Yeah.
15. And like Vinny Del Negro, you can just tell he's doing a horrible job coaching and like putting the right people, wrong people in, and we ended up losing by like whatever, like 5 or so. Like as happy as we were at halftime, it was as mad as we were at the end of the game, the opposite end of the spectrum.
Right. Yeah, it's just additional shit at sports games from me. You got like one more? Wrap it up.
I don't think so. I mean,
I like it though, man. Again, it just kind of referencing the game. It was or the round rather today. Definitely was.
Just like a good place to
sanctuary.
just get away and just like escape for a few hours and just forget about things.
Totally, dude. All right, so let's switch over to the. I just had a thing as I was going.
Yeah,
through,
you had a little movie thing, right?
Well, just as I was going through previous episodes, putting
you've been editing old episodes,
like putting timestamps and going through clips and shit like that on them. Those previous episodes that we had, we did favorite sports movies just in general, but we really focused only on the 2000s. Like nobody really mentioned anything from the 90s that I could recall.
Probably has something to do with us being our age the way we are,
What I'm saying though is that we've definitely we just simply omitted a lot of good movies from the 90s. So let's do.
You wanted to focus on pre-90s ones, right?
90, like again, I'm not a stickler, so if you do 91 or some bullshit, whatever. But like anything that's previous to that, I think we definitely missed on a bunch. I know
because there are a bunch in around like the mid 90s, like the early to mid 90s, like the bunch of particular. I thought about this. Well, like I was gonna say, it was a time where a lot of kids sports movies came out. Mighty Ducks 2,
Angels in the Outfield,
The Sandlot, Little Big League, Rookie of the Year,
for sure,
Little Giants, and it was. I think it's just kind of interesting that all those movies came out within like a 4-year span, 3-year span of like from like 92 to like 96.
If I'm being honest, it probably was just because Disney was really probably booming at that time. I mean, I remember the 90s to me, like, again, I don't know too much about the 80s because I fucking wasn't born in that decade.
Yeah.
But I don't hear people talking about, like, oh, do you remember that fucking classic Disney movie from the 80s? It's mostly 90s live action started kicking off there, but even the fucking, to me, the animation fucking was at the height. Toy Story, fucking Lion King, all that bullshit.
Yeah, I just found it interesting that all those movies, like when we were growing up, happened all just come out at the same time when they're all like I said, like all like sports movies, but for focus on kids and not adults.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah, that was just interesting. I guess it kind of starts with Mighty Ducks, but honestly, to get back to your topic, Mighty Ducks can't exist without Bad News Bears.
Bad News Bears, the original, yeah.
Walter Matthau, which is a great movie.
I'm just gonna throw out Rudy. We didn't.
Plus 92.
I mean, I'm just again. It's again. I'm not being a stickler, but it's in
Rudy's
that era.
Rudy's good.
Where we just
same guy who directed Hoosiers.
Yeah,
directed Rudy.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
A lot of the musical guy is the same. The way the movie's kind of shot and put together. If you could watch them back to back, you can tell that. So like Hoosiers, Rudy. You got like Slapshot.
I was gonna go. If you fucking know about this, Blue Chips, man. That was
Blue
in the
Chips
80s.
94. Yeah, that's good.
Is it 94?
Yeah.
Fuck, I thought it was in the 80s.
Shaq and Penny. That's where they were filmed it in 92 or 3. So that's how they got Penny and the Magic, because they were practicing together for the movie.
Yeah, it's fucking dope.
We obviously talked about Major League before.
Major League is 89.
We mentioned Hoosiers. We mentioned Bad News Bears. Slapshot.
Okay, give me another one.
You got Original Longest Yard.
I mean, is there one? Okay, I definitely recognize that. The remake to me is more my speed.
But we're talking about this time.
I get it. Let me see if is Bull Durham in the 80s?
Yes.
Okay. Bull Durham was one I was thinking of.
Dreams.
Field of Dreams for sure.
You got All the Right Moves with Tom Cruise. High School Football. You never watched that?
No, never saw it. I've heard of it.
Teen Wolf.
Okay, now we're done.
It's got some basketball in it.
But yeah, I'm just saying is that there was obviously, I think in just general the way that the world works is that there's more movies produced. 90s, 2000s, shit like that.
I haven't seen like you. I was born in 89, so a little older than you, but I haven't seen as many 70s, all 80s movies.
Oh
sports
shit,
movies
dude! You got to mention James Caan.
Rollerball?
No, yes, but that's like kind of it.
I have seen that. The Program?
No, dude. James Caan and who's Lando Calrissian?
Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams as Brian's Song.
Oh, Brian's Song. Yeah.
Song
Okay.
Was in the 70s. That was a great one. No, I just again, I don't think I think we're good at least for now. Maybe I'll kind of pick Bobby's brain.
Well, I know there's like ones that like people like, but like things that we didn't really grow up with them. Like I know like Wildcats is one with like Goldie Hawn, like Wesley Snipes, Woody Harrelson. I've never seen it,
Never
so
seen
I can't
it.
really comment on it.
Oh, White Men Can't Jump.
Well, I can't jump 91 or 2, 91.
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm just saying is that like yes, the 90s were full of like it was that time of like movies about sports. There were a shitload made. There was a shitload made in the 2000s. I just think that again, like and this is also kind of like another segue here. Point is just like now as you're getting into it, I don't feel like there's a whole lot of movies that are made now that are like specific about sports. I think there's just a lot of documentaries, biopics.
Dude,
that's where they're going
yeah,
now.
that's part of the thing is like you said is more of there's so many good documentaries and things now. They don't do as many movies
Last
focusing
Dance?
on it. Yeah, exactly. And also just like in Hollywood in general, we've kind of maybe touched on this before, but like they're just doing a lot of things more big budget IP movies. You know, something that has been a book or a show or
Remakes,
it's a spin-off or a
remakes,
remake
yeah,
or a
yeah.
sequel.
There's
or,
no originality.
You know, and they're like, because the other ones aren't making money, like original idea movies, like, you know, like in the 90s when we grew up, they would have all those different kinds of movies, like, you know, thrillers and mysteries and, you know, horror movies, like every romantic movies.
They were hitting all fields.
And there were comedies released, multiple comedies every year. You know, I just actually watched. This is kind of a different thing, but like I watched Along Came Polly the other day, and Ben Stiller in that year had 5 movies come out in 2004. That alone, by him alone, you know, that's pretty crazy. And now we get maybe like 3 comedies a year, if that. And most of them are probably like straight to VOD or, you know, Amazon.
Yeah, I would
streaming.
just say that there's definitely a emphasis on what makes money, and that's what we're gonna produce and shit like that.
Yeah.
But let's just again, let's take a trip over to
Sure.
Ryan's reviews, as this is going to be a popular reoccurring segment here. It's just
Sure.
we're going to get your kind of take on a movie that you've just seen in the theaters.
Sure.
So what is it this week?
I just, like I said yesterday, I was supposed to hang out with my friend, but he had something come up, so he couldn't go. So I wound up going to see Twisters, which is a standalone sequel to Twister, which basically means.
But it's the same.
Basically means no one from the first one is in it. Has nothing to do with the first one. However, it's technically in the same universe, I believe.
It's the same. I'm not going to say the same premise, but I'm just going to say the fact that the name of the movie and what was the content of it it's Twisters.
It's not. Yeah, it's not a remake.
I understand that. I'm just saying it's like
you're
you're saying in the same universe. I'm just saying like it has to deal with Twisters.
If you've seen
like,
Twister, the first one, which I actually just rewatched,
Bill Paxton,
Helen Hunt, 96.
You know my favorite Helen Hunt movie is Twister. Sorry,
it's okay. You know, actually, too, I was gonna say, like, this is probably maybe the second or maybe third at most I've seen Twister, the original one. The first time, I really didn't care for it that much. I didn't hate it.
It was fine.
I thought it was okay. This last time I just watched it like a week ago or 5 days ago, it's pretty damn good. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. They did it on the rewatchables for the podcast, so I like to watch the movie and then listen to it after. And actually, it was a lot better than I remember. Like a lot of action, cool like practical effects and early CGI for the mid 90s.
The only thing I really remember about that movie is that there was let's just say, some of the stuff that the Twister actual part of it was 90s. So I just like, again, it's like you can't clearly see, but just like, I think they could have done that.
It's good for the most part. Maybe like the cow that's in the Twister doesn't look great, or a couple of those kind of things.
That's mainly what I was mentioning.
But they do throw them in with like real, like they're actually throwing ice cubes at them and like real effects and things. So it blends well. That. So anyway, Twisters is like it's a standalone sequel. The only thing that from Twister that's in Twisters would be Dorothy. If you remember what Dorothy was, it was the machine they used to to get the little sensors up there to predict to see the tornado's funnel and whatever. They had that in the beginning of the movie. Other than that, there was no other mention or nothing of anything of the first movie.
Which I like that. That's how it should be. I don't want to fucking see a remake of the same fucking movie.
So basically, I'll just give like a quick brief
10-second synopsis.
Okay.
What happens?
There's like a crew of people of it's this girl and this guy named Javi, and they're three. One guy's her boyfriend. These two other people. They're doing storm chasing in the beginning of the movie. It's like a flashback. They end up they're trying to do this thing where they're trying to decrease the tornadoes by using some chemical combination, having get sucked in there.
Okay.
Anyway, it turns out that they ran into a stronger tornado than they thought. It's an F5, and it kills the three of the people, and only the two of them survive, the main chick and the Javi guy.
Okay.
They reunite 5 years later. Javi recruits her back. He's got a company. They're tracking tornadoes and trying to use some technology or whatever. And anyway, and then the other part of it is Glenn Powell. He is like a YouTuber, and he like is a storm chaser, and him and his crew, they're kind of like a ragtag group of guys, and these other guys that Javi and the chick are more like professional. They're kind of like clashing, looking for tornadoes. They're kind of running into each other along the way, and eventually Glenn Powell and the chick end up like kind of coming to an understanding, and then they kind of bond, and then, anyway, the whole movie's like them chasing and tracking tornadoes, and it's a really cool like
Twister.
Summer. Yeah, it's like Twister, but like more modern.
Is it not
yeah.
a Twister? That's the
no,
name
yeah, a
of the
bunch
film?
of them. Yeah.
Okay.
So
You said tornado. I'm like,
it was,
the name of the movie isn't
whatever.
Tornado.
Twister,
motherfucker.
tornado, it's same shit.
Okay.
But yeah, it's that kind of it's very similar to the original Twister. I think the original Twister is still better because I like the characters more in the movie. But this movie, it was entertaining. If you're looking for like a summer movie to go out and just waste a couple hours, I definitely recommend seeing it on the big screen. I think it'll make the movie better than you would
Obviously.
have seen it at home.
I mean, dude, name a movie that's fucking shittier on the big screen.
And Glenn Powell, he's a good actor. I like him. He's kind of like, on the rise right now. He's been in a few things, Top Gun, this. He had that one, Hitman on Netflix. He's going to be, I think, in the Backdraft remake, I believe.
Shocker.
Yeah. So, but he's a good. I think he's a good actor. So worth a shot. It's
Ryan's reviews.
not a great movie, but a decent good movie.
Enough.
Maybe like a B- to a B, I would say.
There you go. We're not going to put a graphic in. But,
No, that's fine. I don't have to. I'm just saying.
I'm just kidding. All right. So, like I said, just a little trip to the movies, and then we're back at it. All right. So the album review is Surfaces, Where the Light Is. This was my pick. We're getting right into it. I do want to give a little bit of background on the band because this is...
How would you describe this music, Woj? I find it hard to do.
I mean, I think it's in the general...
It's like kind of like a little hip-hop, but not completely. It's like chill, like almost like beach, like boat, like kind of thing mixed with like a little hip-hop. But it's not like, it doesn't go complete hip hop, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like also like some type of like pop thing. I don't know how to like quite gauge.
Right, you named a lot of genres.
Yeah, no,
there.
I know, but like I don't know if there's like a better way I can.
The only thing that I would say is like this is a music for a day outside.
I would describe it as chill music.
Like it's vibing, chill music,
Yeah.
but I think it's mainly meant to be like I'm looking out at my porch right here, my deck, what a patio, whatever the fuck it is, balcony. There we go. Words are hard. But I'm just saying, like, it's definitely a thing where like you can sit out there, you have it on, and I think you're just kind of hanging out.
Kind of like a summer like barbecue.
Summer barbecue, yeah.
Like
all
a beach
these
day or
things are
something. Yeah,
definitely in this. So again, their genre in this says reggae pop. I can kind of see it, but
it's kind of like California-ish. Like
Californian, yeah. So Surfaces is a 2017 group. It's got two guys, Forrest Frank and Colin Padalecki. I mean, to me, it's just like it's a good vibe that I just kind of was turned on to randomly through Pandora.
It is good. I actually, before you even mentioned when you mentioned the group, I was like, oh, I know that group. My friend Arthur at work played them last summer, and I got into a few of their songs. So I already knew, like two of the ones on here are really good that I already knew. So.
Hell yeah. So the album that we did was Where the Light Is. Looks like it might have been 2019. Don't quote me on that.
Yes.
2019.
I'm looking at it.
Cool. All right. So just quick track list. Beautiful Day, Shine on Top, Heaven Falls, Fall on Me. This View, Grace, Outside Interlude, Sunday Best, Where the Light Is, Someday, Home. total of what is that? 10 songs? 1, 2,
There's
3,
only
4.
10 songs for 29 minutes and 38 seconds.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it right off the bat that I didn't even realize that,
It's
but
an easy listen. It was nice.
I really, this is one of the albums that I could have honestly used like 2 or 3 more tracks, which I normally don't say. I think a lot of times it's a
I agree, especially because a few of them are kind of just like musical interludes. They're kind of just like no words really. They're just like when
All right, so let's do a quick, because you mentioned those two. Beautiful Day is a musical. There's no
the
no
beginning.
lyrics.
What do you think about them starting off with that? I feel like they could have started with something better, maybe.
I don't hate it because, in my opinion, I very much enjoy both of those as well as a couple other songs. I think it was Someday. They utilize a lot of piano and saxophone.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, if you're going to do a audio, what is it called? It's not audio only. It's a
it's audio only.
I'm just saying there's no lyrics.
Yeah.
No, audio only is the wrong word, but whatever. I'm just saying it's a song without instrumental. Thank you.
You're welcome.
When they're doing an instrumental, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Is like piano, saxophone, horns, stuff like that. Ends up making it very good. Like when you just have like a beat, which some of these like skits that we've had like kind of happens. I just really fucking hate it. To me, it's like it's not enough. You need to have like this is a full song, and they just didn't happen to put lyrics over.
No, they're good. I do kind of do want them. I would have liked to have heard them maybe talk on a couple of them or rap or whatever you want to say there. It's kind of like an in between.
Right.
But they were good on their own, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But they were so good in fact that I wanted to hear what they would have put on there. You know,
and I think Home was also one, right? The last song, 130. Maybe. There's some lyrics.
I gotta be honest with you. If I'm just speaking from the hip right here with this album, like to me, none of them are bad. I know we're kind of like I'm skipping around here with you.
Well, no, I mean, are we good on the first part?
Yeah.
Then move on. Yeah,
I was gonna say none of them are bad, and they all are like they all kind of blend in together, and I wouldn't say aren't distinct, but a couple of them are distinct because I knew them already to me. But I think they're all like pretty like in the same flow, same wavelength of like it's not like if you don't like this one, I would be surprised that you would like the other one because they're all kind of.
I think you have to understand that again, in being that it's a chill vibe. Like again,
I'm not complaining about it.
The genre is again they put it as reggae, and reggae kind of has that kind of like light kind of beat where you're kind of fucking like just going with the flow. I agree with what you're saying though. Is like if you don't like that kind of like easygoing listening, and you're more into like punk or fucking I need something upbeat. You're not gonna like.
Like I feel like if you don't like one of them, you won't like any of them. Probably.
Right.
But
I
like
agree.
where like other albums, maybe you like the Incubus one, where it's like one sounds really different than the other one. You might like that one, you might not like this one. With this one, they're all kind of in the same ballpark, same area or whatever. Now, if we're getting into our favorites, or
let's go top 3, bottom 3.
Okay, well, for sure the top 2, which again I already knew these, like them a lot, already in my playlist. Heaven Fall / Fall on Me and Sunday Best are by far the outliers, the best to me. Played those many times at my job or just at home. Really good, like chill vibe, and like love the beats, love the way they incorporate their voices and style with it. Mm-hmm. And a good length of the track, not too long, not too short. I really enjoyed those the most. I would say for me.
I would say Sunday Best for sure. Where the Light Is, and the namesake of the album, and then This View. For me, those are, again, as you said, they are definitely similar sounding, but I just really, again, for all 3 of those, I was like, this is fucking dope.
I think Shine on Top I enjoyed too.
Okay. I would just say, just as a quick interjection though, Someday, I never heard that song before. I thought that was great. And then the Heaven Fall on Me, I definitely haven't heard that one either.
Oh, you haven't?
No, and both of those I think were real. I'm gonna say solid doubles or triples in my mind of first time hearing.
It's kind of hard for me to decide which one I like more. They're both really good.
Okay, so let's switch it. Let's go to the bottom 3, or the ones that again didn't hit the mark.
Again, I don't really like. I mean, like to me, none of them. They're all like none of them were. I didn't hate any of them. I know it's like if you had to pick 3. I mean. Yeah. I guess Grace maybe.
I was gonna go Grace is the. I don't have bottom 3 because there's only
outside
10
interlude
songs.
just because it's not really like a song. It's more just like a beat. kind of thing. But again, none of them are like, I need to skip this. Like,
No, I totally get that.
like they're not like bad. It's all like very easy to listen to and really goes well together as an album, like flowing into one song.
I totally get that. Again, I would just put Grace as like, it just wasn't one that hit me that I was like, this is a great song. It just wasn't terrible, but kind of take it or leave it. It's a shorter track listing, so it ends up being like
I said, to me, Sunday Best and Heaven Falls / Follow Me are like a pillar above them all, and then the rest of them are kind of all in the same grouping.
Right.
Which is not a bad grouping. They're all very listenable, all good.
Mm-hmm. I totally get that. So, I mean, again, with this type of music, I would venture a guess that Bobby probably enjoyed this.
I don't think he would like hate on it. I think he would be surprised that how much he actually enjoyed it, if I had to guess.
I think he would say the same thing, though, and that it is kind of repetitive in some of the songs. I would also say, again, you kind of, in my mind, you need to put in another track or two to kind of give some diversity, some additional.
I don't think he would hate it like he did Stank On You.
Yeah, well, again, that was a bad one.
I don't know if he would love it, but I think he would. I think he'd be like, oh, I've never heard this. Actually, for not hearing it, I enjoyed it. If I had to guess.
Yeah, again, I think it's unanimous. Stank On You was a miss.
I didn't mean to throw in your face.
It's all good, man.
I'll just say it.
All good. So let's do.
Do I got to tease mine now? Or
I was gonna say I'm pretty good on surfaces. It's short, sweet, to the point. So let's do the tease for the next one.
Man, we're going with one of my all-time favorites, and this is a banger and a classic. We've actually already done one of their albums before.
Okay, what we got?
We're going to go with Graduation from Kanye West.
Graduation from Kanye West. It was only a matter of time. So
yeah,
we knew that it was coming. But we'll definitely do that. And I know Bobby will definitely be on next week. I think we are going to have a special guest on next week, so watch out for that. Okay, so surfaces. I think again, solid.
It was a great choice.
Solid choice.
I listened to it while cutting my yard last week, and it really helped me get through the yard work. It was nice, actually.
Dope.
And then it was funny. It kept playing, and I went through and I went to the other songs I had on my iPod or my phone from them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even notice because they all just sound like so similar.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is on there too, but it actually turned out to be another album of theirs. But good. It was good stuff.
That's the one thing I will say before we kind of wrap this up is that I am pleasantly surprised that when I'm listening to Surfaces as like a Pandora station, I'm getting other albums that they've done where I'm like, damn, I like this song. Like, I don't know the name of it, but the one other album that they have, I was like, fuck yeah, dude, these are great songs. So
yeah, there was one song I was like, this isn't them, is it? And there was this other song that I've heard called I think it's called Drugs from Ty Verdes, kind of a similar vibe. And we listen to that again at work a lot, and I'm like, this isn't Surface, is it? I'm like, oh no, it's not. The album finished, oops, but it sounds so much like them.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It was good stuff. Yeah.
All right, so we got coming up movie review. We got Stripes coming up. That was
Bill
Ryan's
Murray
pick.
Movie from 1981.
And then so we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna be back here. So grab a beer, chill out.
Yeah.
Journeymen Lounge
Sit
Podcast.
back, relax, enjoy the show.
Journeymen Lounge Podcast. We'll be right back after these sponsored messages. What is it? After these.
A word from our sponsor.
Word from our sponsor. There we go. Words are hard. Okay. Welcome, Journeymen Lounge Podcast fans and listeners and family. We are back at it, the Ryan and Woj show.
Power Hour.
We're taking it fucking global. No, we're back. We're doing the Stripes movie review. This was Ryan's pick. I'm going to turn it over to him, and we're going to fucking rock it out. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it then, love. All right. So we got Stripes here from 1981, starring Bill Murray, Harold Ramis. You got some other people in there like John Candy, one of his first roles. You got like an early Judge Reinhold in there. John Larroquette, and a couple other people. Basically, it's a Bill Murray, Harold Ramis movie. I believe it's Harold Ramis's first acting role. He had directed and written a couple before that. I think, or like written like for National Lampoon or whatever and stuff like that. But yeah, originally I did some research. Originally, this movie was conceived by Ivan Reitman, who directed it. Also directed things like Ghostbusters, Space Jam, a lot of
he
famous
collaborates
director.
with Bill Murray.
Bill Murray,
a lot.
quite frankly,
Yeah.
quite frequently.
Yeah.
He had written it as Cheech and Chong, which I'm actually wearing the shirt.
A vehicle for Cheech and Chong.
Go to the Army.
Yeah.
And they loved it, their manager, but Cheech and Chong wanted to have creative control all over it, right? Do their own rewrites and things.
I read something about Cheech and Chong's manager was asking for a percentage of movies going forward, which
sure.
If that's a thing in Hollywood, that's fucking crazy.
So Ivan Reitman was like, no, I want to do this my way.
Yeah.
Became a Bill Murray vehicle. And Bill Murray's the one who wanted Harold Ramis to be in the movie with him. He said, only want to do it if you're in it.
Right.
The studio was unsure about him because obviously he's an unknown. They were like, no, let's put you with Dennis Quaid, who was at the time married to PJ Souls, who's the love interest of Bill Murray in this movie, the MP. She's in like Halloween and things like of that time.
Super hot.
Yeah, she's pretty hot. But he was like, no, I'm not doing it without Harold Ramis. So he ends up getting him in there, and best decision possible because, frankly, he's like my favorite part of the movie, honestly, even more than Bill Murray. But they're just a really great duo, and you can tell. Like I feel like when you're watching them in this movie or other movies, that they had a genuine friendship and a camaraderie and like a chemistry on film that they really just worked well together, and like had the same vision.
I mean, I also will just throw it out. I mean, you mentioned Ghostbusters is like the dynamic of Bill Murray is kind of like the goofy, but like, I'm going to throw out, snarky comments and stuff like that. Harold Ramis to try and kind of be more of the straight guy or like that works out very well. And I think it's, it's very easy to do so when Bill Murray has this. I mean, it's Bill fucking Murray. I wrote that down in my notes.
Bill fucking Murray.
I mean, you can't. He's easily one of my favorite actors of all time.
Yeah, Chicago guy.
The shit that he's done. I mean, I even watched, just for a quick interjection, I watched Lost in Translation, which was a movie that
Scarlett Johansson,
him. And I watched this movie thinking, like, I've never seen this movie. It looked bad when it first...
It's supposed to be a great movie. I haven't seen it.
Let me finish. It looked bad when it first came out in terms of it wasn't something. It came out in like the early 2000s.
2003.
And I just like that's not something that I was looking at. It looked like a rom-com type of thing set in Japan.
Yeah, I think it's
not my cup of tea, right? Gave it a chance because it's Bill Murray, and guess what? You still enjoy certain aspects of it. Again, still not my fucking cup of tea, but
and just even when he makes this is I kind of got a question leading into this, but
cameos.
Yeah, even when he just makes a cameo like Space Jam or Zombieland or whatever, like he's always just so funny. Like for me, like I think one of the first Bill Murray movies I saw was like this movie that most people probably, I don't even know what it's called. I remember it's like his father dies and he inherits like an elephant from like the circus, and he has to take him across the country to like try and sell him. I don't remember what it's called, but
I don't know.
but like it's Bill Murray, so like normally that movie might not be too good,
right?
But with him, it's pretty funny, like,
enjoyable.
Yes,
yeah, for sure.
So I was gonna say, what's your experience with Stripes? Maybe when you first saw it, how were you introduced to it, and just maybe. We kind of talked about with Bill Murray in general.
Hold on, before we do that,
sure.
do the synopsis of the
movie.
I'm
sorry. Okay, synopsis of Stripes. So Bill Murray plays John Winger. John Winger, and Harold Ramis is like his best friend, I guess.
Oh, he doesn't get a name.
His name is Russell
Zitsky.
So I think Bill Murray's like in his 20s in the movie, like mid 20s maybe.
All right, we'll discuss that later. Just get to the highlights of the.
He's
points.
he's driving a cab. He has a girlfriend. He has like one day he has like a really bad day. He loses his job. He loses his girlfriend. He just has nothing in life. He decides, hey, I should join the army. I got nothing going for me. You want to? And then he asks Harold Ramis to join with him. They join the army together, and most of the movie is about them in basic training, and then towards the end of the movie, it's about them in a mission in Italy involving this thing called the EM-50,
which is basically just an armored Winnebago.
It's like a Winnebago. It's like an undercover assault vehicle, basically.
Urban assault vehicles.
But the bulk of the movie and the funniest parts of the movie would be them in basic training and just that whole culture and everything.
Hijinks ensue.
Right, exactly. That's basically your movie right there. It's kind of like Full Metal Jacket if it was funny.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so now get into your question.
All right. So what's your, mine experiences with this movie and like Bill Murray, Harold Ramis in general? Like when was this the first movie that you saw of theirs, or did you see this after maybe you've seen, Ghostbusters, whatever?
Ghostbusters and Scrooge and stuff like that, those were mainstays in the house, so I definitely saw those before Stripes.
Okay.
This is probably at some point where I either ventured out or at a random movie night when we were doing with the fam, just like, hey, we have, either it's already, we own it, or we went to this video store rather, and rented it. So it just kind of like naturally worked itself into the rotations. In terms of like the time frame of like my knowledge of like Bill Murray, in my opinion rather, Bill Murray really kind of solidified himself like mid 80s to late mid 90s, like that kind of 10-year run was more of my favorite of his films,
so
kind of in his
like
sweet spot.
Ghostbusters to whatever, like Space Jam or something.
Space Jam, would probably be right around the last, not the last, but like again, those were more of like
when he's more doing like Kingpin, where he's more doing like
Kingpin
his funny,
was a great example.
His funny roles still, his typical Bill Murray sarcastic asshole, but you love him still, like,
right? Yeah. So I'm just saying, it's like that was the Bill Murray heyday to me. This to me is just kind of before that. It's still funny. But I think he's still trying to find, like, he still is not the Bill Murray that I love, which is a little bit older, a little bit like, go fuck yourself. Yeah. This man has no penis. Yeah, that type of shit.
I would say definitely, like, this is his second big movie, I would say. You got Meatballs first in 79. Right. Then you got this in 81. He follows this up with Tootsie, and then and that sets everything up for Ghostbusters in '84. Yeah, which launches his career, into what it is and what it was.
What it was,
or what?
Just say what it is.
What it is. He still, he doesn't do a lot of movies now. So I'm talking about.
Okay, I get it.
I'm talking about more like his prime, like then.
Just say what it is.
What it is. All right.
What it is.
So, but for me, this is like my favorite Bill Murray like movie, like as a movie. Like maybe not my favorite role of his, like that might be like Zombieland or in Kingpin or Space Jam, but like as a movie, as a Bill Murray vehicle, this would be it for me. It's my favorite.
Okay.
I'm not a big Ghostbusters guy. I don't hate it. I'm just not. Don't hate me.
Aaron's gonna fucking jump out of the corner.
I've only seen
you.
it like I don't know a few times. Again, it's fine. I gotta rewatch it. Maybe I'll love it even more this time. But to me, this is always my favorite. My dad definitely showed this to me, or my uncle. I think my dad was like, "Hey, you gotta watch this," and we always just like really bonded over it, watching it together, and like. We especially we're going to get into it later, but especially got a kick out of Harold Ramis in this movie. Okay. He does all these faces in these scenes and like just like behind people or when they're talking and these reactions, they're just hysterical and let's really get me. No, I'm just saying.
Let's get into the order of operations.
Yeah. Okay. So if this is not this, I said this is my favorite Bill Murray movie. What's your favorite Bill Murray movie?
My favorite Bill Murray movie is going to have to be Scrooge.
Scrooge, okay.
Yeah, I think that sarcastic, I'm on top of the world, yet going through shit is...
Yeah. I don't even know if I've seen that, honestly. If I have, it's been a minute.
I mean, the weird thing, dude, is that, like, also on top of that is, like, again, as you're saying, is, like, there's just so many different roles where he pops in cameos, one scene here and there, that it's, like... Scrooge is like he is the man.
Yeah, if we're talking about specifically like he's the star of the movie. It's run through him. That's what I'm kind of saying. If we're talking about roles, like where he just pops in, like you guys like Kingpin, Space Jam.
Yeah,
cetera,
I'm just never mad at Bill Murray making an appearance, but I would say Scrooge is probably my fave.
Okay, I don't know if we should talk about this now or if you want to save it. I was going to ask you, what are your thoughts on the last third of this movie? With the whole after basic training, the EM50 in Italy, that whole. Do you want to get in that now, or you want to save it?
I would say let's go through. Let's bring that up in kind of the others picking Nits section.
Okay, that's fine.
But yeah, let's kind of get into
I just wanted to
scenes.
see I wanted to gauge what your thoughts were if you want to do that later.
Yeah, let's do it later, but let's
Okay.
get into kind of scenes, cast, quotes. What
Oh
are
yeah,
what are
let's
the
do
normal-
scenes, and
Okay.
then you want to start? You want me to start?
Yeah, dude, I'll just kind of open it up. I mean, it's really quick, but it's like when Harold Ramis is singing "Do Run
When,
Run"
when he's
with
teaching
the immigrants.
the English the ESL class.
Yeah, so like he opens it up and he's like, that's what his job is or whatever, and he just starts having fun with them.
When he's like, do any of you speak any English?
Yeah.
Some English. And then one guy, you speak some English. He's like, shit, son of
Not a
bitch.
Yeah.
Everybody, shit, son of bitch, shit.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah, they're all singing Do Run Run. That's really great.
I'll kind of collaborate or compress a lot of scenes. I like really any of the scenes where they're marching and they're doing the chants or the songs
like
or
they're
whatever.
doing Do-Wah-Diddy instead of the actual song or whatever.
Yeah, but there's also like when they're doing the graduation day, he does like the whole like
A razzle dazzle.
stuff. But again, even the whole build up to that is like he's doing like a whole like cadence thing of like
So let's talk about that scene. That's a good scene where
Sure.
they're late to their graduation.
Yeah.
They've been up all night trying to get the I don't know what you call it, like the gun flipping and marching down. I don't know what that's called. I apologize.
I don't fucking know either. So.
If anybody wants to give me what that's called in the comments, but so they're late to basic training. At this point, we should also mention Sergeant Holka he got blown up by a mortar, so they have no leadership. So Bill Murray basically has taken over the squad and is teaching them. They show up late in their regular clothes, and not everybody else is in their dress blues or
uniforms,
greens, whatever. They're and they just do like their own random routine and like the funny things he says in it, like the razzle dazzle and like boom shakalaka laka boom shak, all that shit. That's really good shit. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean the graduation scene I think is definitely it's just up there in terms of like
that's the fact, Jack.
The pinnacle of again these marching scenes that I'm talking about with this call and response, because everybody knows like any like military movie you have this thing of like sergeant running along or the captain or whoever the leader of the squad is.
Yeah.
You have everybody in the rows. It's a pretty iconic kind of picture of like this guy's yelling, they respond, and like I just like that in Stripes they do it in a very funny way.
And it's actually
the do-ah-diddy thing is like they just to sing a whole song singing do-ah-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. There she was just walking down the street. Yeah, it's such a fucking fun thing.
I love too when they're coming back from their training and they're like singing I guess my dad said it used to be the song. They used to be the song for the commercials, like Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines.
Oh yeah,
there we are. I forget the rest of it, but it's funny. You got more you want to touch on?
Yeah, shower scenes in the 80s.
Oh God, I wish it was a loofah.
80s, 90s,
Stillman.
2000s.
So Stillman peeping Tomming on the ladies in the
John Larroquette, but just in general, I think like
let's just talk about it really quick.
Rated. I'm just
80s.
Let me just say, just movies that are rated R or should be rated R. They show some cleavage, and I'm not mad at it.
No, they show some bare titties in this, naked titties in this one.
I was trying to be respectful, but you went full titties.
We're talking R. We're
full blown tits.
It's just some breastises. So no, but like we were talking about it before the pod, like 70s or at least 80s for sure, and 90s movies. That was kind of a staple, like a teen movie. Like you'd be like, how can we get tits in this movie? Okay, let's have Stillman looking at them in the shower. Oh, let's have Bill Murray's girlfriend in the beginning of the movie be topless for no reason. Like,
right.
And I ain't mad at it. Frankly, I kind of grew to expect that when I would go to watch these movies. Like, where's the naked scene in it?
For sure. I think in comedies you had naked being a little bit more liberal.
No, obviously spying on them. Not the greatest thing morally or whatever.
Definitely is not aged well.
But it's a comedy. You just go with it. It's of the time,
All right. I also have the whole pom pom bar scene with Ox,
the Ox
John
and
Candy,
the mud wrestling,
and Murray is a corner man. I fucking love it.
He's so good. He's like He bids exactly $416.58.
Yeah.
It's like, my man right here, he's gonna do it for $416.58. So good.
I mean, he's also like, he's like, all right, man, you're good here, and he's starting
And then
throwing water into
Ox gets all their tops off by the end of it.
Yeah.
And fucking classic.
police storm in. I like that kind of chasing type of deal as well.
Yeah.
A little chaos. Definitely reminds me of like Animal House.
Yes,
There's
which
a
was
lot of-
only a few years before.
Right,
So.
a lot of chaos. Same styling for
Yes.
sure. And then the last one I just have is kind of at the end of the movie, the magazine where
Oh my
where
God.
they are now.
Yes,
where are
I
they
had that
now.
also. That's a great call, though. Like I exactly had that thing. The Where They Are Now post, Hulkaburger franchise.
Yeah, I got that.
What's her face is in Penthouse.
Bill Murray's
My
girl.
favorite, though, by far, is this one. It's called the magazine's called Guts. And it says the magazine for real men, and it says Zisky rates the Russians, they're pussies.
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
has like the gun he's shooting out there.
Yeah, they do one for all the major categories. Ox is like a
Oh, he's on Teen Tiger Beat. He's like the
Yeah,
heartthrob
it's
of the week or
kisses
whatever.
and whatever. But
That's always a great gag that they used to do a lot in those late 70s, early 80s movies. I think starting with like Animal House, they did that. That's always a good.
I like shit that's like it's when they're trying to be like this possibly could happen in this universe.
Yeah.
And again, when they hit it on the head, it's just like all of those were great. And then it's Bill Murray as the poster for the movie. It's him doing that like smile, like smug thing.
Yes,
and like
exactly.
doing one of these to the army now. It's like,
Yes.
whatever. So I just like those to wrap it up. It definitely to the movie. It puts a nice bow on it for sure.
All right. I'm going to drop in a few
All
now.
right, go ahead.
You kind of touch on the one in the beginning, like with Russell, but also juxtaposed with Russell's intro is Bill Murray's intro is John Ringer.
Right.
Him driving the cab. He gets the shoe shine. He's like, nothing is my philosophy. $100 shine, a $3 pair of boots.
I also like, if you caught in there, he's when he pays the barber or the shoe shiner rather, he fucking does it like a drug dealer. He like does like this, and he's like, put it down.
Then,
it's fucking
it's
hilarious.
really fun. And then he takes the guys and they stick him on the money or whatever, and then he ends up picking up that Karen, for lack of a better word.
Dude, he hits his
his
himself
nuts.
he goes, oh my balls.
And he really did that. They kept it in the movie.
Yeah,
He's like flipping her heavy ass. Be careful with those. And he's fucking when he's driving or whatever, she's getting all like bitchy with him, and he's like, he starts doing the I take action photos while I'm driving. It's really fun. And then he does the I shouldn't have had all that cough syrup. He's like, what are you doing, Mr. John Ringer? I thought that shit was really funny.
It's also weird. They call that woman a dowager. I don't know what
that is
that
either.
means.
Yeah.
We don't fact check here.
I like when they in their apartment when after Bill Murray breaks up with her, she dumps him in his apartment. He's got his car repossessed. He dropped her dress. He dropped the pizza on the ground.
Yep.
And then he's shooting hoops. And he throws the fucking ball through the window.
Dude, I just gotta mention any movie that has a
Hoop in the apartment, sick. I know.
Fucking love it, dude.
He's like dunking off the brick
just
and
off
shit.
the brick. Yeah.
So he throws the ball out the window, and then the guy he's like, "My man, throw it back." He throws it back through the other window.
That's like classic '80s slapstick comedy.
Russell's like, "Can I have your last beer? We'll split it." And then he challenges him to do 5 push-ups, and he'll give him like $3 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he barely gets it, and that's when they decide to join the army. And then that leads into the army recruiter office scene. He's like, "You can't park your car there." He's like, "We're not parking it. We're abandoning it." And what's his called? The guy's like asking him. Well, I'll get into the quotes later, but he's asking him to join. I love the bus station scene with Judge Reinhold. He's like a stoner, and he's like trying to smuggle drugs. He's talking to Harold Ramis. He's like, "Hey man, what are you smuggling?" And Harold Ramis like, "What are you smuggling, furs?"
No, he goes, "What are you holding?"
Yeah, smuggling furs. It's like, no drugs.
Yeah, throw out like one more.
Okay, well this one I'm just gonna take this. The best scene of the movie is the locker room scene. They all introduce themselves.
Oh yeah.
I'm just, if I could just go
for it, man.
Go by guy. So, it starts off with Cruiser, who's like the dumb guy. in the group. He's like, I joined the army because my father and brother were in the army. I thought I'd better join before I got drafted. And then Hulk is like, son, there ain't no draft no more. He's like, there was one?
Yeah, that's John Deal. He's in a bunch of shit. It's maybe a that guy as well, just because he's been in a lot of TV shows, but
and then
not a whole lot of movies.
One of my favorite guys in the movie, and the best part's fucking Psycho, a.k.a. Francis Sawyer, a.k.a. Psycho. He's like, the name's Francis Sawyer. Everybody calls me Psycho. And you guys call me Francis, and I kill you. And the one black guy's like, ooh. He's like, you just made the list.
Yeah.
He's like, and I don't like nobody touching my stuff or touching me. So keep your meat hooks off. And this is going to be inappropriate. But he's like, any of you homos out there, don't touch me or whatever.
That's a quote, man.
And it's a quote. But I thought that was really funny. And then Hulk is like, lighten up, Francis. And me and my brother and my dad would always say that, lighten up, Francis. And then you got John Candy's character, Ox, telling us why he joined. He's like, my name's Dewey Oxburger. Friends call me Ox. You might have noticed that I got a slight weight problem.
No.
All of them are like, no.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I do. I went to this doctor. Well, he told me I swallow a lot of aggression. I love a lot of pizzas. And I just mentioned, while this is going on, Harold Ramis, they have him next to him in the camera, and he's making the most hilarious faces that makes the scene infinitely funny. Like he's just doing these.
You really gotta see the movie to kinda understand what you're saying, because again, it really isn't almost like every scene.
Yes,
because he's in the background. He ends up being like, again, just doing some like reacting to what people are saying in real time. It is a little over the top at times, but I do admit that it is funny.
Yeah. And he's like, I gotta lose some weight. So he's like, he recommended this course like S. It costs like $400. I can't afford that. So I figure join the army.
Right.
And then you got Russell talking about how he's like, I've always been kind of a pacifist. When I was a kid, my father never hit a man in anger unless you're absolutely sure you can get away with it. I don't know what kind of soldier I'm going to make, but I want you guys to know that if we ever get into really heavy combat, I'll be right behind you guys every step of the way. And then you got the great Bill Murray monologue where he says, how about you, Winger? He's like, chicks dig me because I rarely wear underwear, and when I do, it's usually something unusual. But now I know why I lost women to guys like you. I mean, it's the uniform. It's the stories you tell. Lee Harvey, when you and your friends made it with the cow, and your friend made it with the cow, whoa, I want to party with you, man. It's just, and then the best part though is when he's like, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna volunteer my leadership to this platoon. An army without leaders is like a foot without a big toe, and Sergeant Hulka isn't always gonna be there to be that big toe for us. I think we owe a big round of applause to our newest, bestest buddy and big toe, Sergeant Hulka. And then his reaction is like, well, okay, hotshot, we're going to see what kind of soldier you are. We're going to follow the locker box inspection, and we're going to do 10 miles, rain or shine. So you better hit them bunks, little babies, or Sergeant Hulka with the big toe is going to see how far he can stick it up your ass.
Yeah, I think Sergeant Hulka in this is he's a great military villain.
He really makes the movie more believable, and is a great foil for Bill Murray and his shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very good, like, play off of with the... hey, you got to have a military badass. A lot of these films, you mentioned Full Metal Jacket.
Yes.
They have these fucking sergeants who are
that scene to me is the best scene in the movie. Everybody gets a little spot to cook, and you get to see the whole group together and their whole dynamic, and that's the one I go to most, where I'm quoting it or talking about things. That's what I would say. And
I got you.
You got most of the other ones already, but I was just going to say all the basic training stuff, too, is funny, where they're like, going through the courses and you stabbing the dummies or going up the rope walls or like, that shit's good.
I got you. Let's move on to cast.
Okay. I was cast.
What do you got?
For what you talking about? I had quotes next. I'm sorry.
All right, quotes it is.
Okay, go quotes. You start.
I mean, dude. When they're doing the push-up contest, I think.
Yes.
I think it's Harold Ramis. He's like, I think you're ready for the Special Olympics.
Yeah.
Just a little quick jab in there.
About when they're in the recruiter's office and he's like asking him the questions like, you ever been convicted of a felony or misdemeanor? And he's like, convicted? No.
He
Never
also
convicted.
Yeah, he also the recruiter asked him, "Are either you homosexuals?"
Yeah.
And then they look at each other.
Yeah.
Do you mean like flaming?
Like flaming or?
And he's like, "All right, I guess I'll put that down."
No, he says. He's like, well, it's a standard question we have. He's like, no, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn. He's like, yeah, would they send us someplace special? He's like, I guess that's a no on both.
Yeah, they're just fucking with the.
He's like, now if you could just give Uncle Sammy your autograph. He's like, get well soon, Sammy.
When the Ox shows up to the whatever the check-in or whatever. Before,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like, excuse me, stewardess, is there a movie on this flight? And then he starts laughing. I always love when John Candy in this laughs at his own jokes. It's just so funny.
He also has another one when he gets off the bus at the basic training. He's talking to Stillman and Hulk. He's like, "How's it going, Eisenhower?"
Yeah,
that one's real funny. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I just got when Bill Murray and fucking might as well fucking put her name out here. Stella. Stella's the love interest for Bill Murray. He's got her. They're like fooling around. They're about to bang in the absentee sergeant's house or colonel's house or whatever.
Aunt Jemima treatment.
Yeah, he's like, had anybody ever given you the Aunt Jemima treatment? And he starts with the spatula
on the stove
under her fucking ass. It's like it's cute, but it's also like it's such a I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like a flirtatious thing, but then he also has like the ice cream scoop, and he clearly puts it right up her fucking vagina.
It's really funny.
And I'm like, okay.
I love John Candy fucking with the dumb guy, whatever his name is, fucking
John Cruiser.
He's like, when they're playing cards, he's like, if it were me, I go in, but that's me. I'm Mr. Vegas. It says that's really funny.
He's like, I have a full house. Now you got an ace, a 4, a 9, and an 8.
You were real close.
You're real close.
You're getting good. Yeah. This is fun, right? And then when they're in Italy or whatever, he's like, see, if we were in Germany, I'd have to make your bunk, but we're in Italy, so you have to make my bunk.
Those are nice little quick ones. When Sergeant, who's the fucking
you mean Stillman?
Stillman. When Stillman comes up and
Captain, I think.
Captain. When the EM50 is fucking gone, he goes, "Where the fuck's my truck?"
Where the fuck's my truck?
He's trying to show it off to like a date. And
the blonde chick. Cool. Trying to. How about when they're doing the practicing and Russell's like trying to teach them how to march? Like, come on, rhythm, hut 2, 3, 4. Black guys help the white guys. Or whatever. I thought that was funny.
I like when they go into Czechoslovakia at the end of the movie, and then obviously almost start a war.
Yes.
And Bill Murray is just always so cool. It's like Czechoslovakia. It's like going into Wisconsin.
It's like, yeah, and I once got my ass kicked in Wisconsin. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the lady in the cab is like, I've never gone this way before, and Bill Murray's like, well, I'm sure there's a lot of ways I've gone. You haven't. Yeah. That was real funny. I thought.
I am fully tapped on quotes. So anything else you got, throw it out.
Good. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I said, most of my quotes are going to be from that locker room scene, which we already covered them. So I think I'm good. Okay,
let's
go on to. I got.
Let's cover soundtrack real quick.
Soundtrack, okay. There's not much in this. I had only a couple things.
Well, I'm just mentioning up front. There's only 3 songs in the actual soundtrack.
The only one that I could recall is Rubber Band Man. When they play that in the mud wrestling bar. That one I associate with Stripes. I don't have any other ones. Other than that, I just had the score of the movie. It was a very good score. Whoever made the score did a very good job of that.
I definitely agree, and that's a military kind of thing. Da-do run.
Oh, of course. Okay, and then of course
is in there.
And do-wah diddy dum.
Yes, so those are the only 3 that are put in as the actual soundtrack listing.
Yes.
The score or the whatever the fuck you want to call it, the theme that they bring out.
That's the proper word.
Okay. All that shit, it's iconic for something.
The military trumpets
cadence, and they fucking march. Everything that they bring up with that is like, it's got to be that because they do a lot of shit in the military.
It's actually catchy too.
It's very catchy.
Yeah, it's a good job. They did a good job of that.
I totally agree, but I think again, soundtrack and score is pretty limited on this.
Thanks for sure.
So I think we can move on.
Let's go with we had the scene-stealing supporting performance. So I'm gonna say, obviously outside of Bill Murray and Harold Ramis, anybody outside of them Who's your favorite, or you know?
John fucking Candy.
John Candy, of course.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Even him as a younger, I would say I prefer John Candy definitely as an older, more mature, not mature, but like just in more of the fact of like a daddish uncle type of role. Not Uncle Buck necessarily, but being the older guy, I think he's much, much funnier.
It's definitely one of his first roles, one of his earlier
Right.
roles. So he was like not nobody, but up and comer.
I will also say though that because there is this SCTV, which what does it stand for? Second City Television.
Yeah,
is
Canada,
the Canadian basic Canadian equivalent to SNL.
You got him, Rick Moranis,
Joe Flaherty.
Joe Flaherty was in the movie. The other guy who does the wrestling, the
Dave
mud
Thomas
wrestling. Yes,
is a huge one. They also have a bunch of other.
Wasn't what's her face too? Catherine O'Hara from.
Catherine O'Hara, Eugene Levy.
Yes.
So again, there's a lot of great actors that come out of SCTV. This just is I love when they do this because you will see a lot of times Joe Flaherty, who plays the guard, Czechoslovakian guard, and then Dave Thomas, who you said is he's like the MC of the mud
wrestling
at the
bar.
Yeah, bar, strip club, whatever the fuck that is.
Pom-poms.
A lot of times they're in the same movies together and they work super well. Dave Thomas and Joe Flaherty. So, I like that connection there. But I would say any of those guys, give them more time. Give them more scenes. I'm fucking down to clown with that. I don't have anybody else that would be really, a scene stealing.
Besides John Candy, obviously, that's the number one answer. I got to go with Psycho, Francis. That guy cracks me up every time he's
John Deal.
Is that his name?
Francis is Antone.
I don't know. He's fucking hilarious. Anyway, he's great.
Let's just get it wrong. Right? Conrad Dunn.
His locker room scene is great, and then when they're at the mud wrestling, he's like, "Kick their fucking ass, Ox," or whatever. And then when I forgot what happened. Something happens, and he gets the gun like he's gonna use it. I forgot what it was.
Oh yeah, okay. I know what you're saying. You're talking
he
about.
just pulls the gun out like he's about to use it or something, and then. Sergeant Hulk is really good too. We kind of mentioned him a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I would also say Judge Reinhold, but I don't.
He doesn't get enough to cook with in this movie.
I don't love him as a stoner guy. He's more of a goofy guy to me. Give him in more of a goofier role.
I mean, I definitely think he's better in Fast Times or Beverly Hills Cop or the Santa Claus.
More U.S. Marshals, I think.
He's not in U.S. Marshals.
What's the other one then?
He's not in The Fugitive.
He's in one of them.
No, he's not. It's my favorite movie. One of my favorite movies. Definitely not.
Man. He's in something.
He's not in those, bro. I'm telling you.
We're gonna fact check this one.
He's not in it anyway. While you're doing that, I am going to transition us.
Yeah, transition
to that guy. I can't put my finger on it award.
I'm thinking about Beverly Hills Cop. My bad.
Which I did mention. That's okay.
That's my bad.
So I think there are a couple people. I mean. You obviously mentioned Dave Thomas as the mud wrestling guy. I don't know if a lot of people would know him. And Joe Flaherty, we've mentioned him before. He's kind of one of those guys. For me, though, the clear winner is Piney from Sons of Anarchy as the Army recruiting officer. An early Piney. Did you watch Sons of Anarchy?
Nah.
Okay.
I missed that one.
He's one of the main characters. He's the older guy who started the motorcycle club, and his son is in the club. He's a prominent character in the first 3 or 4 seasons. But he's young in this movie. He's 40 or 30 or whatever. And in Sons, he's 70, 60. So I thought that was interesting seeing him in this. Do you have anybody you wanted to throw out?
No, the only just random other thing that I'll just mention is Timothy Busfield.
Oh, Timothy Busfield. He's one of the mortar guys.
It is
early role for him.
It's his first appearance in a movie.
Yes, Timothy Busfield
is the
mortar
first
guy.
Kid.
Yeah, he tells him, Captain Stillman tells him to shoot the thing, and he's like, we need coordinates, sir. He's like, what are those? Where we're supposed to shoot the fucking rocket?
Yeah, I would just say, though, that he was to me, he's always going to be the villain of the first Kid. I think that's the name of it, right? With Sinbad.
Oh, I don't know, dude. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Okay, he's the villain in that.
I think of him more from he's in Field of Dreams as the brother-in-law, or what's it called? Little Big League.
First Kid, right?
Little Big League. He's the first baseman. But yeah,
I'm just saying that's where I know him from. But he's definitely you've seen him in a bunch of other shit as well.
Sure.
I don't got anything else. I'm
All
tapped
right.
out.
Did you have any like any?
Oh, sorry. Just also Sean Young is with a female MP.
She's Einhorn.
And Einhorn, but
She's
a bunch of other
she's
shit.
In Blade Runner.
Yeah, Blade Runner.
No
Dune.
Way Out. Dune. Yeah, she was a big star.
Huge 80s star.
After this movie, she blew up.
80s, 90s, mid 90s.
She, her personal life kind of gotten away with her career. Working with her on set, I heard wasn't so great, so she kind of stopped getting roles as much.
Oh, that sucks for her. All right, moving on.
All right, do you have any cinematic shots you want to mention that stood out to you? If you don't, it's okay. I don't know. If
I would just say that
down.
shots that I think are pretty cool is the shit that's like when they're doing like the EM50, the Winnebago coming through.
Yeah, like when it shoots the tower, it takes the tower out. That was
cool.
But
I mean, even just like they're rolling through the town. There's like it's definitely like very comedic, but I think it's still kind of cool. Not really again cinematic shot. I don't know, fucking know.
Okay.
What
do you have any spin-off prequels or sequels you'd like to see?
Yeah, give me young BM Bill Murray, but also again, this is in a fantasy world. I would like a 22-year-old actual Bill Murray. As I'm kind of
this is kind of like a picky nit-ish,
kind of globbing into that. Everybody is way too fucking old. It sucks because it's like even like 2 years younger, I buy it.
But you can join the army whenever you want. You don't have to be 18.
But what they were trying to make it seem like is that these guys are in their let's say mid 20s. Let's be generous.
I think he might have been around like 30. I've had to guess.
No, he was definitely under 30.
Or like 28.
No, they're making it again.
In real life. In real life.
In real life, he just turned 30 in this.
Okay.
But he looks old. He has a widow's, whatever the fuck it's called.
Harold Ramis is like 5 years older than him. He's like 35.
Right, but Harold Ramis with the hair and stuff like that, it definitely looks. It looks like he can play a little bit younger than that, and he still has the hair and all this shit.
Yeah.
I just think that it's again that it's I'm just kind of going into picking nits a little bit. We'll get to in a second, but that's just one part. Is like they shot shots around it. Like in the one, if you notice when they're crawling, they put a leaf on the back of his head to hide his bald spot.
Oh no, I did not notice.
Yeah, it's wild.
Okay, well I actually I didn't have anything for that. I guess if I were just to say, I wouldn't mind a movie if we just focus on Ox, on John Candy's character.
Yes, definitely so.
Because, John Candy's good enough, obviously, to carry his own movies. He ended up doing that many times.
Yeah.
So I would like, maybe, I don't know, a spinoff with him, I guess, would be good. Maybe after the movie or whatever, maybe he goes on to have his own platoon or something. Because he was kind of doing that at the end of the movie. He was kind of like in charge of the guys.
Right.
Maybe something like that I thought could be funny.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll get into the picking nits full on now. I'm just going to start the haircuts. They're inconsistent with what they should be.
But again, I think
some of the guys
Yeah.
shave their heads like you should.
Right.
And Bill Murray and Harold Ramis and other guys like Judge Reinhold, they just get like a short like trim up.
Right. Bill Murray, I think, is because they couldn't shave his head because it would look like he
but
was
if we were being
too
authentic to the basic training.
Right.
Everyone's gonna be like John Candy, have his head shaved clear off. So,
especially set in the 80s or 70s. Yeah,
that kind of takes me out of it a little bit. When
I get it.
Even though it's a comedy, it's not a big thing, but that was kind of like what. Also, I don't understand why were the police raiding the mudslide or the mud wrestling bar. I get like the MPs because the soldiers aren't supposed to be there.
I mean, it was
why
definitely
are the regular police there?
It's definitely a strip club,
but that's not illegal.
Not necessarily.
It's not like a brothel or something.
But let's also, we don't know the context of like maybe it's in a town where it's like not legal.
Like
to
I'm
be
curious, like
topless
did someone maybe at the bar was like, oh, all these military guards here, we better call the MPs on them, or
I don't know.
What?
Yeah, it's something that's not explained. I also would throw out that maybe I missed it, but I don't recall a part where Russell is convinced or like I know Bill Murray's like, well, I'm going to join the army. I don't remember a part where Russell.
No, he just pull up to the office and he's like, oh, I guess I'm joining with you.
Guess I'm going with you. It's like, that shit is wild.
Yeah, they kind of had some. I saw some deleted scenes online today where they kind of had a little bit of extension in the apartment where Bill Murray kind of talked a little more. About, but Harold Ramis didn't say like, oh yeah, I should join with you. Like
why the fuck would he join?
Right, like exactly. What he had a good gig going with the ESL class. He had his own car, his own apartment.
Yeah, it seems like he's doing fine, but that was a weird one. And then the last one, all of the shit that they do, you steal a secret, even though they're not having it reported.
Probably gonna start a war.
Going into a fucking different country,
Yeah.
you're not getting praised. You're getting fucked in you're gonna be put in jail.
It's gonna be like World War III, maybe.
I'm just saying, even like the army would probably be like, you're discharged. You're fucking all. They wouldn't be celebrating them with a parade. Yeah.
I also, this is gonna. We kind of talked about this before. I was kind of trying to maybe make this a new thing, which is like, if you could add a scene or take away a scene in this movie, maybe what would you? You kind of talked about. You kind of said you wanted more ox scenes, which I agree with.
I could see that, but I could also.
Like, is there a specific thing that you think could maybe make? Like you said, like a scene where Harold Ramis explains why he's joining the army. Like maybe that's something you would.
I would definitely say that would be helpful to the plot.
Anything
I would just
else
also I would say like, you don't need to have as many basic training scenes when they're pretty much the same. Like, you could have done kind of the whole thing within, like, take out a couple of those scenes. I would also just say that like, they should have gotten the reason for like stealing the EM50.
Yeah.
I would have thought that like there would be like, yes, they're taking it to go and see their girls. I would have thought that like they could have like just put them in Germany already, and they're just going like to grab it and see. Like, when you're talking about like, hey, we need to go
from Italy to Germany to back to Czechoslovakia.
Italy to Germany to Czechoslovakia. I'm like, well, where are we going now?
Seems like a lot of time would be, yeah.
It just is like, but not even time. It's just like the reasoning for doing this. Like, I totally get going to hook up with the females that are there, but then it's like you're creating like just like, hey, here's a reason to go into this. I'm like, it doesn't track a whole lot.
I think they could have, as far as adding a scene, I kind of think they were missing one more scene with them and the girls. I don't really see why they like them so much. It's like very quickly, they see them at the bus station very quickly.
Yeah.
And then they usher them back to when Bill Murray's trying to go AWOL for like that 2 minutes.
Right, yeah.
And then after the bar, for some reason, they pick him up and take him to the general's house, and they
want to
bang him.
They're trying to,
I think there should have been maybe like a scene where they go to dinner or like a diner or something like that,
yeah.
and they have like a little bit of, hey, why did you guys join the army? Why did you join the army?
Right, yeah.
Maybe a little more bonding so we could see
a little bit more
why
background.
Sean Young likes Russell so much, why PJ Souls likes Bill Murray more. I mean, it's obviously it's not important, super important in a comedy, but I just felt like maybe it would have strengthened it up why they like these guys so much, kind of thing.
I got you. Yeah, some exposition.
So let's get into this. We've been saving it kind of.
Right, I was just about to say.
So let's talk about the last third of the movie, where it kind of goes off the rails a little bit. Even they knew it when they were filming it. They kind of were like, the last third is not great, but it is what it is. And I think movies of that time, it kind of didn't matter as much. They would kind of just go on these funky tangents or off roads, or be like, oh well, this happened, and oh well, it's a movie. Here's an interesting question I heard on the. I was listening to a podcast about this movie. Actually, they proposed, so I'm going to propose it to you. Do you think this movie would have been better had they not had that whole last part, Italy, EM50, all that? The last scene is they end with the basic training routine, and they just cram more others like basic training things in there before that to pad out the movie. Like maybe there's like I don't know, like a competition with another group platoon or something, or because like that part I could kind of see it where it does kind of feel like an ending scene where it's like, hey, the dance, the routine. I don't know. I don't mind the EM50 stuff as like a lot, but it is kind of random and a weird plot point with the rest of the movie. Where it's, that part of it. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I would just say that I think that they probably had written the movie to be like, hey, we're going to then go to this. We're going to do this. We're going to go to Czechoslovakia and do all this stuff, like in the characters.
Yeah.
And then I think they started shooting and going, well, now we can't really go back. I think it's something where you could have ended the movie. I think it could have been just as good when you end it without the going to Italy and all that shit. I just think that again they just maybe got pigeonholed into it and ended up being like, well, fuck, like it is more time. Like to me, the movie was like an hour 40.
It's like an hour and a half, hour 40.
Hour 40 minutes or whatever. I just think that a comedy, if you're sticking to that 90-minute mark, I don't think you have enough time then to go through Italy, Germany, all that shit. I think they then cut that out. Whatever reason, this goes a little bit longer than the normal 90-minute comedy.
There are parts like I like about the ending, but it does feel a little out of place with the rest of the movie. Where it's kind of like random, like now they're just all of a sudden in Italy and in Czechoslovakia, and they have this Winnebago, and for some reason Bill Murray and Harold Ramis and the two girls are able to infiltrate an army base and rescue them with little training. I mean, the girls have training, but Bill Murray and Harold Ramis, they barely have any training and shit like that. It just seems kind of odd. I mean, again, we do get the newspaper things at the end. I do like that, obviously, but it does seem kind of out of place. And maybe, like you said, when they were doing the script, it was a little bit unfinished, and maybe they thought higher of it, and then they started filming it, and they were kind of like, I don't know. But then again, what else are we gonna do? I don't really know that whole thing. But I feel like they maybe could have went somewhere differently.
I totally get it. I think it just maybe 80s movies had a little bit more leeway.
Yeah, but I do like that we get the Joe Flaherty, the Russian soldier guy.
They needed more of that stuff in my mind. Like, one of my favorite films of all time is Canadian Bacon, and that's just chock full of SCTV guys. It's fucking such a great goddamn movie.
Nice.
Just shout out. We will do that one at some point. I just want to mention one little quick fact here. Is just the Fort Arnold is the fictitious fort that they use in the movie. I will say the Fort Arnold used to be a real fort. It was named after Benedict Arnold.
Oh God.
And then once it was revealed that he was a traitor, they actually renamed it to West Point. So I didn't even know that was West Point. That's the origination of it. So
like West Point Academy?
Yeah.
Oh,
so again, that's the West Point Fort, whatever the fuck that entails. But that's kind of crazy, though. I feel like a little factoid there. But
nice.
I mean, what's your last thing?
That's it. I got nothing. I was just gonna go to our final thing.
All right, let's rate it, review it.
Own it, stream, skip, and grade.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that Stripes is definitely a movie to be owned. In just the general sense that the Bill Murray collection, Stripes is firmly needing, like, it's a crucial piece,
like if you're putting together like a Bill Murray Hall of Fame,
right? If you're gonna say, hey, what is the Bill Murray 10 film collection out of his many films, Stripes has to be in it. I totally get that. Own it. I'm going to give it probably an 8.6. I just think, again, with him, Harold Ramis is a great comedic actor, comedic duo. I still think, though, that they did leave a lot of meat on the bone. Again, the SCTV guys, I think they could have, selfishly for me, would have made the movie a lot better if they could have given them more scenes, because I like the weird kind of stuff. Like, Joe Flaherty always plays like a weird kind of like awkward dude in a lot of his roles, and I love that shit. For him to just kind of play and be like, hey, I'm just going to be a wild dude.
Absolutely.
Right now.
Nice. I'm going to own it. I do own it. I have it on DVD still. Fired it up. Actually, it was good. It was the screen was good. Sometimes with those old DVDs, they can be like the full screen and not the wide. So I was thankful that that was good. Man, it's a hard grade for me. I'm gonna go about the same with you. I'm gonna go 8.5.
Okay.
I had 8.4 originally written down, but I'm gonna go 8.5. I think that we were talking about when I originally, before I sat down, I was like, sometimes I think like, oh, what do I think I'm gonna give it for a score. I was thinking it was originally going to be in the high 8s, maybe low 9s. And when I rewatched it, it was still good, but not as, I guess, as funny or as good maybe as I remember. It's been a minute since I've seen it, and I think it's it's an '80s movie, so the comedy's a little different and the pacing and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we had just watched Pineapple Express the day or two before, so kind of like going back to back with those. I think definitely might have maybe lowered my score a tad, but that being said, this is a great movie, a great '80s movie, '80s comedy. Bill Murray comedy, definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it. Check it out, I would say.
Okay. So that was the review. Again, Stripes. We got Ryan and Sir Wojenstein here. What we're gonna do is normally we would tease a movie at this point, but
Bobby's choice.
it is Bobby's choice. He's not here, and then also we may have a special guest, so we're gonna kind of wait to confirm that first before we kind of let you know what the movie is. If we have this special guest, it's gonna be a banger. But otherwise, again, when Bobby comes back, we'll get a different, movie review for you if that works out.
Yeah.
The Journeymen Lounge podcast will ride again. We'll be back next week, fucking chopping it up. Can't fucking wait to fucking get to the football season. I've been itching.
Champing.
We just started kind of the commissioner's, I guess, checklist to get the whole group going for fantasy. So fantasy football will be coming through soon. But again, for the Journeyman Lounge podcast, Sir Wojenstein.
And Ryan.
And we'll fucking talk to y'all next week. Deuces.
Adios.